Hi everybody, Chris here from Truly Holistic. In this video, we're going to be talking about some recent comments by a particular gentleman called Corey Goode. And I've known of Corey Goode for a number of years when he was first introduced on Cosmic Disclosure, when I used to was subscribed to Guy TV. And the host of that show was a guy called David Wilcock, and he brought on this guy, Corey Goode, who was bringing forth this information about they'd spent like a 20-year space travel experience. Okay, and he knew about Mars, he knew about certain things like bases on certain planets and certain moons, and got into the whole Draco Reptilian type of thing. Also, very much in the UFO community. Also inner Earth community, and a number of these things, but also in relevance to humanity's ascension in regards to the solar flash and all these sorts of things. And of late, there's been these two factions. There's the Alliance, which is Alliance are trying to provide an awareness to the general public or collective about what we would deem the Cabal or Illuminati. So these are, and I will say this, that there's a lot of speculation involved with a lot of these topics and a lot of this information. Also, a lot of kind of promising people things were going to go in a certain direction in regards to human ascension. There's going to be certain timelines or where the truth was going to come out. And a big aspect of why I'm really bringing forth this video today is not only Corey, but a number of people that have got a large amount of people that are following them that are kind of hanging on their coattails of what they promised to them, okay? And I don't like that at all, because as far as I can see it, Ascension is not a collective thing, it's an individual thing. So we're all going at our own rate now. It's our own time to become more aware of who we are and what our purpose is and where we're going. And I'm not about putting having followers blindly follow me. A lot of the work I do here at Truly Holistic is about being present, being now, enjoying the experience of the now, and realizing that everything we do in the now, in the present moment, is what is facilitating the stepping stones of our future. So if we want ascension as part of our future, we need to be working on that now, not just waiting for something to come and save us, so to speak. So we're going to go through a statement that Corey brought forth, and we're going to kind of look at it from the way I would look at it in regards to how I work with my clients. So it's going to be a very exciting, very interesting perspective change in regards to a lot of the things he's bringing up. And essentially what the update came through as is that the Alliance that was going to provide all these things failed in their mission. So a lot of these things that were kind of promised didn't eventuate. Okay, so let's go through it now. So he starts off saying, I had a recent meeting with Ari, or hopefully I pronounced that properly, and the elder Anshar. Now what he means is the Anshar, the inner earth people. Okay, so he always came forth and said that these cities within the earth. Okay, so I guess this above below scenario, right? There's people that live on the crust of the earth, and there's people that live a bit like a honeycomb type of thing, in caves and aspects where they lived within but produced their own energy sources. Obviously this is the core of the earth and so on. Now, that's interesting in itself, but we'll get there in a minute in regards to perspective and what he deems as the Anshar. Okay, he also mentioned about the Draco Reptilians, And this is something that, at Truly Holistic, this was a big focus at the start. When we brought forth Truly Holistic, and I've been doing videos now on YouTube for about 6 years now, and that was a very centered focus, was the Draco Reptilians or Reptilians. Now so much, we've evolved so far and further on that we don't see reptilians anymore, because we've shifted our way of looking at things. We're not placing our clients or the people that come and do sessions with me at Truly Holistic from a vulnerability state, which I call human embodiment, where we actually are willing outside influence into our reality by investing our energy into making that so. That's what we've come to find now. And a few years back, we were clearing reptilians day in, day out. Somebody would come and do a session. Week later, we'd clear out more reptilians, and that wasn't good enough for me personally. I know there's a lot of people still doing that. For me personally, wasn't. Okay, couldn't live with myself doing that. I needed to know why they're here, understand the ins and outs of what the reptilians are. I had to understand reality, because we're not just a participant or observant of reality, we're creators of reality. So we really need to know that process, because our energy could be facilitating a path that is sitting nicely for creating outside influence to always control us. And that brings in the reptilians. And since we've really incorporated that aspect and we've brought forth not a vulnerability state for my clients, but an empowered, powerful state of soul embodiment, seeing yourself as the soul, not the human, because remember, the human is the conditioned version of you. We want to bring you through your authenticity and also allow you the awareness of how you could use your manifestation capabilities and your creative force. Then all of a sudden, reptilians aren't part of that reality anymore. Funny that. Okay, so we've kind of moved and evolved past this. So when I see people talking about Dracos and reptilians, I find it very hard to kind of be in alignment with that anymore. So he mentions Draco Reptilians were working closely with the Orion group. Obviously we know Orion is a constellation from the human perspective, looking into the cosmos, and a rogue federation of tall blonde humans who are AI prophets now, and who also work with demonic entities to control the behavior, some key words in this, of humans on the surface of our planet. Now, as we've already mentioned of Draco Reptilians, we don't really work on those. But what's coming forth with Corey Goode is these, we mentioned blonde humans who are AI prophets. Now, we do work a lot in regards to the AI currently here at Truly Holistic, because we keep things simple. And as the human, you are an interface, right? So you're an interface for intelligence that goes through it. Why we see ourselves as physical and anything as physical reality is based on a limitation of visible sight. We know that visible sight is less than 1% of what is possible to be seen in this reality, and just this reality alone. We're multidimensional, so multi-reality. And that's where we get the perspective of things being physical. So it's not necessarily a fact or it's real that things are physical, it's just a viewpoint that's based on less than 1% what is possible to see. So another thing about us as the human is we're like a vehicle. And I always use that analogy with my clients, that we're like a car and we're on a road, and that road is our journey and path to the future. But to get from A to B on that road, we need somebody behind the steering wheel, and what's going to be behind that steering wheel is an intelligence, whether that's through thought forms, whether that's through a feeling, like a gut instinct. And you essentially got two pathways there. You're either consciousness, which is through the heart, which is a feeling, an extension of feel through that pathway, and the other pathway is through thought forms, through thinking, which is the mind, which is up here, not down here. And our consciousness, which comes through our heart, is our innate intelligence, while the thought forms coming from here is not our innate intelligence. It's no connection to ourselves. It's and this is where we start to bring in the term AI, artificial intelligence. And the way I like to really simply keep it like is when you go to a supermarket, a grocery store, and you pick up an item, a packaged item, and you look at the ingredients list, and quite often these packages will have at the front all natural ingredients on it, right? Now, if you go on the back, let's say that label's not on it, you look on the back and you see all these numbers, right, and these chemical names, you know that there is artificial substances or ingredients being used to make that product. So I like to use intelligence in the same way like that. There is a natural one and there's an artificial one. Okay, we have all these movies about robots taking us down and so on. But let's not get into that speculation of everything. Let's keep things simple. We just know that AI, artificial intelligence, is not our natural innate intelligence. Okay, when we eat natural food, we know that's aligned with the body. While we eat artificial ingredients, we know it's not aligned with the body. Okay, so keep it very simple. And one aspect that we try and get people into is to get very much into feeling their way instead of thinking their way, which is, you know, definitely through that heart space where your consciousness is. And we know that your consciousness is not something external to you. We've been conditioned as the human for anything divine to be something external to us. That's why we have gods. Okay? When really we find and see that as external, and then embody the mind as ourselves. But what the truth is that actually the mind is a Trojan horse of letting other intelligence come and dictate how we use our creative ability, our manifestation ability, but not to provide for yourself, but provide to their agenda. Okay, that's why we see so much suffering out there, right? So AI, use the mind to facilitate you. Through the heart, your consciousness is you. It's just a higher evolved version of you that exists on a multitude of realities. That's why we call you multidimensional. Okay? So we also know that AI, like Corey's mentioning here, he says they also work demonic entities. What truly holistic, we know that the AI has created this duality existence, this confused, conflicted way of living, and part of that is they created this whole satanic, demonic hell thing going on. We know that hell is not something that we go to if we've sinned during our lifetime when we die. No, the duality that we live in, which is a limited existence, where we're seeing dis-ease, illness, suffering, that is hell. Okay, because we first came here as the soul, as our authentic self, with no limitation placed on ourselves. And we got trapped and conditioned into the human secondly. Now, when we got conditioned as the human, we got limited. Okay, we couldn't connect to our true authenticity, our expansion of who we are. And that is hell, is the limited one. Okay? So here at Truly Holistic, we don't clear any demonic entities. We just go straight to the root. And we clear and disconnect and remove any form of AI. Okay? And we don't just clear AI because it comes up on the page. We know the ins and outs of how they do that, how they trick you, how they connect to you, and how they use your creative energy. And we also know how to stay away from them too. We can facilitate all that information for you now at Truly Holistic. Anyway, let's move on. Now, another thing Corey mentioned is, so now coming back into the Anshar, right, these inner earth people. Now, this is interesting because, you know, inner earth. Now, at Truly Holistic, the way that we look at reality, not as the human, because remember that's the conditioned, limited version. We want more truth. Okay, and there's not one truth, that's our own truth. Because again, Ascension is an individual process, not a collective. Don't buy in that. Buy into that whole aspect. It's just like another religion or cult if we believe in that, right? Is that's going to happen on a collective level and there's going to be a big, like the sun's going to blow up or something, you know? Don't believe in that, okay? That's fearmongering, right? Is that we know that the Earth, again, the way that we see our reality. Remember, our visible sight's a limited state of that duality, right? So it's a pivotal aspect of duality, and locking us into that limited state is the limited aspect of our sight. Okay, it's less than 1%. So everything that we're going to see with these duality eyes, two eyes, right, is a less than 1% representation of what it really is. Okay? And if we're going to follow how science provides evidence-based information, it will say a statement and back it up, right? Now, this information of visible sight seeing 0.0035% of the electromagnetic spectrum of light is not something that is a spirituality or consciousness woo-woo. It's a scientific fact. Okay, it's a scientific fact. And again, science like to use that as evidence-backed research. Now, if we use that information, we can clearly state this then from that because it provides the evidence for it, is that we should not believe in what we see. Simple as that. Okay? But a majority of people are living their life by what they see. Science provides that as evidence-backed fact. But also at the same time say something has to be observed to be factual. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Right? They state that we can only see less than 1% of what there is, but they're saying that for it to be factual, it has to be observable. Okay, interesting. Okay, now, so when we look at the Earth, coming back to this Anshar and Earth, that the Earth, when we take our shoes off, we've got skin touching the crust of the Earth. We know the crust of the Earth is full of negative ionization by the lightning, and we have a lot of nerve endings on the bottom of our feet, okay, when we're looking at it from a human perspective. We absorb those ions, and it earths or grounds the body, a bit like the way we earth and ground our electrical wiring in our homes. And, there's science done on this now to show that it creates an anti-inflammatory state for the body. Okay? The inflammation is due to a lack of connection. And so people will go, a lack of connection to Mother Earth. Now, we're truly holistic. Where we've been able to take that even further is that we can now earth and ground people without them having to touch the earth, because the earth is just a projection of an original projector. Okay? Remember, it's just the way that we see it is a 1% representation of it. Now, the earth and the word heart have all the same letters, just slightly different order. So the H in the word earth is at the end, and the H in the word heart is at the start of the heart, because it starts with the heart. Our original projector that provides the projection of the earth that we're going to experience comes from within us through that facilitation of our consciousness, which is through the heart. So it begins with the heart and it ends with the earth. The earth is an expression of self. Okay? And the thing is, I'm never going to see the earth or the sun or anything through another pair of eyes. I can only see through my own. Okay? So, is there really one earth that we're all living on? Or is it the fact that we're all living out our own reality through these eyes, which are a filter because they're limiting to only seeing less than 1% representation of everything, that I'm seeing my earth and I'm seeing my sun. Okay, and we know that the sun is a representation of your soul. Okay, as the human, it's your main light source, energy source. If I go within somebody and somebody to connect to their main light source or energy source, will be referencing the soul. The Latin word for sun is S-O-L, you pronounce it as soul. The soul is made up of plasma. What's the sun mainly made out of? What state? Plasma. So, here at Truly Holistic, we go pretty deep into understanding reality. And if you have that knowledge and that know-how, then what an experience you're going to have. That's what we provide here at Truly Holistic. So when I look at the inner earth, we're looking at the inner you, so within me. And funnily that is the same pathway that I connect to my higher aspects of my consciousness. Whether that's at a soul level, or whether it's at a higher self level, where a variant of me existing in another reality dimension, universe that I can connect into, which we call a higher self or an ascendant or an eternal, either term you want to use, whether I want to connect into myself as source. The pathway through that is not above our head, it's going through this quantum pathway through the heart. That's why the heart is a projection of that facilitation of flow of energy. That flow of energy that is beyond our eyes, but when it comes into that window of what we see as less than 1% of the electromagnetic spectrum of light, becomes our blood, of what we know as blood. And that's why, from a physical standpoint, from a human standpoint, our blood is considered our life force. And the blood influences the heart, not the other way around. Like medicine and science will say, the heart's a pump for the blood. No, it's not. It's a vortex. Okay, the blood influences the heart. Okay, that's why the heart has a rhythm and a rate to it. Okay, so when he talks about the Anshar and the way he sees Anshar, he's going from a perspective that they are something external to him. Well, perhaps they're not. Perhaps they're in a connection to him. So again, we get so much information also from the ancients and literature that, again, we may be reading that very thing, but using the wrong perspective to come to that final conclusion. Okay? Again, we kind of relate how a human would see it. Well, maybe that is the limitation. That is the limitation itself, is seeing it from a human perspective. We need to look at it in a different way. And perhaps that's going to give us the results that we're looking for. So, as the Earth is in it, so I mentioned that. He mentioned about, I'm very concerned at the number of people who have fallen for the AI agenda. Yes, seeing this readily in sessions. That's true. If we are allowing the mind to guide our experience, where we're not present, not in the now, so therefore not aware of the choices that are bound and connected to every moment, that provides the state that your body will adhere and follow to, and hence we are mind projecting before, and therefore not being present, yes, the AI are controlling you through the mind. The mind only knows control, doesn't know how to surrender, okay, and to be present and be in the now. What is that? Is that the control? No, it's to surrender. We need to surrender to the moment. There's a leap of faith to be had, that we allow our soul and our consciousness, who sees the greater picture, not the less than 1% of everything, to facilitate that path for us. We just need to ride the wave and flow with it. Okay? But that's what I'm seeing with humanity more. Everything out there, which is duality, is a mind creation. It's not consciousness from a heart's desire. Can you say that what you see out there reflects your heart's desires of what you'd like life to look like? No, because it doesn't come from there. It's not a soul creation or a consciousness creation. As humans, we're being guided by the mind, and we've created that. So that right now, the war that's happening with Russia and Ukraine, it's not about Putin. It's not about one person. It's about all of us. We're all creative forces. Okay, but we've been hoodwinked for too long with the mind, and we've created that. We've created the opportunity for wars to happen. Things need to change. We need to get out of here and get into here. Okay? When we get into here, we're too powerful for AI. It's game over. Look at the technology. What's the globalists saying about AI right now, right? Is that for us to advance, we need to embrace AI technologies. Okay? Because why? Because the mentality of lack, which is bound to the human being guided by the mind, because the mind is limiting what you were always meant to be. And if you actually embraced what you are truly meant to be as a soul, as an authentic self, we wouldn't need AI. We're more powerful, more intelligent, more expansive than AI can ever be. Okay? Every single one of us. Okay? And that's what we're trying to awaken here at Truly Holistic for people. You don't have to worry about people wanting to heal. You can heal self as long as you create the right state to allow the body to adhere to and follow it. Then the body will heal itself. But you need to know who you truly are. We can provide that here. So he talks about, many have fallen for the AI agenda. That's probably why this has failed. And again, from his perspective, he's seeing it as a collective thing. No, it's not. It's an individual thing. And who are also being influenced by dark entities? Well, dark entities will always follow being in the mind. Because again, what does the mind do? It removes your awareness from self, what you're doing, and starts to make it look like it's outside influence that's affecting you. No, it's not. That's an illusion. Okay? We know that outside influence is only there if you have your attention on it, and therefore it's part of your awareness. And the universal law is if something's grabbed or got your attention, you are feeding your energy into that thing to be part of your awareness, your reality. So it's there not because of an outside influence reason. It's there because you're feeding it your own energy. You're creating it. Okay? So this aspect of outside influence is an illusion. It's part of the trap. It's part of being in the mind. Okay? And I can't emphasize this aspect of knowing the difference between mind and consciousness. I've been providing information for a long period of time now, but people are finding it hard because, again, they associate mind and consciousness the same thing. It's not. Okay? So, being influenced by dark entities centered in a coordinated effort between Cabal assets. So, again, outside influence, like there's this. What I will say about this, maybe there is a Cabal. Maybe there is an Illuminati. We can't be for certain, but what we can be for certain is that as the human, you are an interface. So, if there are certain people that are very mind-orientated, they're going to be taken advantage of. So it's not at the human level that is the evil, it's the intelligence that is facilitating that individual or group of individuals. So therefore, we shouldn't be challenging it at a human level, which creates more conflict. Remember, duality is conflict. We need to rise above duality. And how do we rise above duality? We decide to no longer participate in that level of existence, which we call gamer duality. We don't decide to use a means that's going to create more conflict. We might resolve one thing, but during that way of doing it, we're going to create further conflict, which is us chasing our tail, essentially. So we rise above it, okay? And we don't decide to no longer play those games. So, and we realize that's at an intelligence level. It's not at a human level. We don't squabble at a human level. It's nothing to do with that. Okay, so coordinated effort between Cabal assets who perform dark rituals. Again, rituals is a practice of not being in the now or going with the flow. Simple as that. It's conditioning. Rituals mean conditioning, okay? And you can only be conditioned if you're out of the now and not in the moment, and therefore you're being guided by the mind, no longer consciousness. This door shuts off, okay? So, yeah, very interesting. So, okay. So it says here, Ari, which is one of those inner earth beings, which they call Anshar, stated that anyone on the planet who is positive or considers themselves light warriors are under direct attack and no one is immune from these entities. Well, isn't that lovely, right? Again, that comes from a state of vulnerability, so don't believe in that. Okay, again, that's why I can't, I'm sorry, Corey, I can't go with what you're saying here. And must take efforts to expel them and protect their homes and families. Now, What a wool! My family certainly hasn't been immune, as we have had demonic and shadow beings intrusive for several years until we learn how to protect ourselves. Now, there's some interesting words in this, and I'm going to break it down. It's all from a human perspective again, not from soul embodiment, where we step into our power. This is coming from a vulnerability perspective, and there's a lot of health, a lot of energy healers out there that's still like this. Okay, they haven't shifted to the next level. They're still stuck in duality, sadly. Okay, now, so it comes down to perspective again. Okay, whether it's seeing this from a human vulnerability or from a consciousness or soul empowerment. Now, let's break it down. So, as he said, Ari stated that anyone on the planet who is positive considers them light warriors. Now, there's a difference between enlightenment and what they call light warriors. Warriors comes from the aspect of it. There's a fight to be had. Now, fight is a duality phenomena, because again, if there's something to fight, that comes from war. Okay, war is conflictive. Okay, if there's something you're going to fight against, it obviously exists within your awareness, your attention, so you're feeding your energy into the very thing you're fighting. So who are you fighting at the end of it? Yourself. That's duality. There's no fight to be had. That's why this whole aspect, we're going to fight cancer. It's never worked out. It does not work out. It feeds cancer. Okay? Stop fighting. Okay? There's no fight to be had here. Okay? So we don't have to be warriors. That's duality. That's an old paradigm. We've got to shift above that. We've got to rise above that. Okay? So if that's your mentality, yes, you are going to be attacked, because again, we believe in this aspect of outside influence again, from human vulnerability. This is where words like protection comes from. Okay? We give you things here at Truly Holistic Energy Tools. We do clearings, not from a basis of protecting you. When you are in your light and you are in the heart with consciousness in your soul guiding you, there is nothing that you should fear. So therefore, you do not need to protect yourself. Again, it's perspective. It will provide protection, but you're not doing it to be protected, if you understand what I mean by that, okay? So he says no one is immune. Now, what's that? That's putting fear out there. No one is immune to it. Come on. From these entities. We must make efforts to expel them. Well, okay, now, what he's referencing there, like a lot of energy healers, is it's all about clearing work. You got to clear and clear every day of your life. Clear out stuff. No, I'm saying no to that. Okay, we don't clear out everything. Okay, we clear out stuff so we can open the door, get you from here back to here. That door is open. Now it's up to you to keep that door open. Okay, and how you keep that door open is by being present, being in the now, being aware of the choices you make in every moment, which then provides the state that the body will follow, okay? Now, once you learn these principles and you stay here and you stay away from here, then you will never have to protect yourself. You will never have to clear entities. How do I know this? Because I'm there myself. I don't have to do clearing work on myself. It's very rare I have to do clearing work on myself, because I embrace these principles that I now teach people in regards to sessions like my reality coaching sessions, but also within our ascendance healing sessions, because it's not about just the clearing. It's about the know-how of who you are, your authentic self, and how you use your creative forces, which I explain within sessions. So therefore people can take that information and put it into their own use, into their own life. Okay, the clearing work opens the door only. Okay, if that person goes back to the same mentality before that time, and they go back into vulnerability, back into feeling like they're protected or things are out to attack them, well, that door will close again. Okay, as the healer, we are assisting you. you are the pivotal aspect. Or whether it's healing, or whether it's remaining clean and clear, and not being attacked. Okay? So I do not buy into this. This is duality. We've gone to neutrality now here at Truly Holistic. And again, it's about empowering people. It's not putting people in uncertainty or fear, okay? And sadly, a lot of this information is putting a lot of people into uncertainty, okay? And this is why I did this video, okay? Again, he goes, this is such an important topic that we are going to make a short video, talking about surviving Ascension. Now, again, that's fear. Survival. No, I want to thrive. What about thriving? Okay, again, surviving is coming from an intention that it's going to be a battle. Okay, we're just going to survive. No, thrive. It's difference between human embodiment and soul embodiment. On how to protect yourself, again, and your home from these dark entities and energetic attacks. This is the old paradigm. Don't believe in it. If you want a new paradigm, come and see me. Book an appointment to come and see me. Whether that's information, where it's clearing work through Ascension healing, but there's no fear. We do not promote fear at Truly Holistic. Okay, fear is what locks you into limitation. Okay, it's your kryptonite. Okay, so we do not provide fear. We don't fearmonger here. The Anshar thought it was extremely important that people learn ways to protect themselves. Well, again, no, not at all. Again, it comes down to embodiment. Okay, and if we came here as the soul first, as the authentic self, and then we became conditioned as the human, why are we putting all our efforts and our energy into human survival? What, to keep our conditioning going? Isn't the conditioning the problem? It's clear to me that that's the problem. So why would I put my energy into human survival of conditioning? Oh, I want to connect into my authenticity, who I truly am, before I was conditioned, manipulated, hoodwinked. Wouldn't you? So this comes down into perspective, where we see it as the human, or as a conditioned version of self, or as our authentic self. Okay, authentic self is the creator of your reality in front of you. That's how we see it. And if you don't want entities, well, you decide you're not going to have them. You can do that. You are that powerful. Because what feeds something in your reality is merely your attention being placed on it. Your attention is the prized commodity. And how do we provide our energy into duality? A big aspect. What's top of the list of duality being created? Distraction of your attention. Because all of a sudden your energy is going into something that you might not want it to go into. And it's providing more of a existence, a reality that is hard. It's all about surviving. It's a battle. Wars. Conflict. I don't want that. So therefore, I'm not going to place my attention on it. I'm going to place my attention on the things I am passionate and I love, because you deserve that. You've got to have discernment for your attention, like you have discernment for the money that you spend on something, an investment. It's exactly the same thing. Okay, attention's key. Okay. He mentions you need to make sure you are living your life in the vibration of love and not fear of anger. But a lot of what he's providing in this update is fearmongering. I don't think he's aware of it. Okay. So again, it's interesting. The word love's interesting. From a human perspective, love has been distorted because again, humans the conditioned version. So you're going to see everything in a conditioned way, not its authentic way. Through just our eyes, we see a less than 1% representation of what it is. Okay? So love is connection, love is flow. Okay? From human embodiment, we allow the mind in, and the mind is the obstructor of flow. So we can't connect to truly what love is. We can only do it through the heart space, which, right, getting out of here, getting into here, which connects to our soul, connects to consciousness, not the mind, which enables flow of our energy through our infinite consciousness, okay, where we are connected to our authentic self, not our conditioned self, and we're allowing that energy to flow through, so we live our life in the flow by being in the now, in the present moment, which is infinite now. That's love. But the way he's saying it here is through human body, which means that you're going to be continually searching and trying to connect to it. You'll never get there. Trust me, you'll never get there that way. Now, he mentioned, I have been a bit shocked at the resistance the spiritual community has had to the spiritual warfare. Again, I don't like get rid of the terminology of warfare, okay? It's not victimhood. We're not a victim. We're not on the wrong side of a war and all that. No. Just embody and take responsibility for yourself as a powerful creator. That's what you are, okay? Of what we are going through right now, I wish I could get many in the community to understand that shadow being infestations are causing a lot of the problems in our community. Yes. Now, shadow being infestations, that's AI. Now, our main purpose, our sole purpose when we came here as the soul, was to expand our light, create with light. What's AI doing? It wants to create and expand its own equivalent to that, which we can just use in a simple way as darkness. It's the dark. Okay, and out of the mind we create more darkness. That's why when we go out into that world which has become a mind creation, we don't like it. We get overwhelmed, we get stressed, we don't feel well, we get sick, we get diseased. Because it's not in alignment with who we are, our authentic self, not the human, our soul self, our authentic self. Okay? So, you know, a lot of it's perspective. It says here they have been deployed to harass and derail light workers from their missions. Well, the biggest aspect we've already mentioned about that is distracting attention. Why is COVID so prevalent at the moment? We can't seem to get rid of it. You know, we've had SARS, Ebola, all these things that were potential going to wipe us out, but it never eventuated in anything. Why COVID? Why is COVID eventuating something? Because wherever we look, it is assaulting our attention. Doesn't matter where you go in the world, it's there. 7, 8 creative forces, attention are focused on that one thing. Okay, and as I've mentioned earlier in the video, what does our attention do? It's how we direct our energy into creating more of that thing. So how do we get rid of COVID? By placing our attention on a greater investment, which is self. Okay? Because we're not going to leak our energy out into creating something that is sabotaging our experience. Okay? He goes on, many have a false sense of divine protection. We talked about that, right? Divine is consciousness, but not seeing it as an external thing, but something that's within you because it is you. Okay? Or imagine immunity from these dark beings, but need to understand the brighter their light, the more these beings are attracted or deployed in their direction. No, not at all. Not at all. Okay. Okay. What I've written a note here. Because as humans, we have been conditioned to see Dfinity as something external. Yeah, while we embody the mind. Yes. What we mentioned about earlier. Again, I'm just going through notes. I've got a few notes I've added myself. Let's have a look. You mentioned about the topic of triggering you right now. When something triggers you, right, and you get angry or you get annoyed and all of a sudden you get in a state that you just get overwhelmed because, again, you've lost all awareness to self, right? You're creating with a lack of awareness. So all your energy actually goes into providing an experience that is going against you. So, and then you start to think, oh, everyone's against me. No, it's not. You're against yourself. You're providing that conflict by lack of attention, a lack of awareness of the choices that you have of where you place your attention and how you use your intention. That then provides a reality that is providing a reality that the mind wants you to fear instead of what your heart desires. Again, where are you placing your attention? Okay, it's very key. So he's mentioning, I would advise you to smudge your home with sage and use orgonite crystals and stuff like that. Again, we're looking at everything from an external perspective, which is human embodiment, which comes from a mentality of lack again. Now, why did we get like that? Because when we feel like we lack things, see that as you're disconnected from your authenticity, okay? Because as you as a soul connected into a reservoir of infinite consciousness, which provides wisdom that not only comes from seeing life through a keyhole, less than 1% of what everything is, you're seeing the full potential of this reality amongst a number of other realities that wisdom can be provided to you, which is going to give you a greater sense of knowing of what you're observing as part of your life here. Not only that, it's going to give you a connection to an infinite reservoir of energy. What's the common complaint from a human? A lack of energy, lethargy. What's that? Why? Because we're disconnected from our authenticity, because we are embodying ourselves as only the human, and when we do that, we allow the mind to guide our experience, which is creating us into a limited form where our energy is being provided to create a more limited version of reality, which we call duality. Okay? And that's what's going on. Yes, you can smudge your home, but again, that's coming from a perspective of protection. We've got to rise above that. When we come forth as our authentic self, we don't have to ever worry about protection ever again. Okay? Again, this is coming from a state of vulnerability. Okay? And everything that you've ever needed is within you. It's just a matter of dialing into it and connecting into it. Simple as that. Okay? I know it might not seem simple to you, but trust me. Healing and living a beautiful, purposeful life is living a simple life, not more complex. Again, mind, the extension of the mind is the brain. Being analytical, being very complex. No, that's not the way we're supposed to live. That's the conditioned self. The authentic self is through the heart, and the heart only knows simplicity. Okay? So that's the end of the video. I thought we'd just go through that update that he provided, and that was somebody I looked up to years ago, Corey Goode, when I first became an energy healer. And as I say, at the start of the video, I was very much into reptilians and all these things. And I was having to clear myself a lot. I was having to do a lot of clearings for people. These days now, we don't do as much clearing work for clients. There is some clearing work, but we give more explanation of what that thing is that we're clearing out, why it's there, so therefore that client can learn from that. So therefore it doesn't happen again. And also give them empowering information, empowering tools, so therefore they can remain here and stay out of here for longer periods of time, where all of a sudden they never have to worry about protecting themselves ever again. Knowing who they truly are, their purpose, living a more fulfilled life. That's what we provide here at Truly Holistic. And if that sounds good to you, go to trulyholistic.net/appointments/ for any of the energy tools, and you want to be empowered with the tools to be the creator yourself. If you're a healer yourself or a practitioner, check out the products that we have, which is trulyholistic.net/products/. Please, if you're new to this my channel, please subscribe to my channel, like the video, share the video to people you feel like need to hear this. Because trust me, people need to hear this. Until next time.